Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're learning how to work on this stitch. This is the diamond stitch. I'm in the process of making a cardigan with it, so I decided to make a tutorial for this pattern so you guys can already have an idea on how it works up, so that in my next tutorial after this one I'll be showing you how to put together the pieces, and I'll show you the measurements, how many chains I made, and all that stuff. So in this tutorial we learn how to make one of the sleeves that I'll be using in my next tutorial. So if you would like to watch the tutorial, I will leave the link in the description box once the cardigans tutorial is completed. Okay, I'm going to attach a picture or a diagram for this pattern so you can take a screenshot of it. It's very short though, but it will help you to know how the pattern works up from the beginning. All right, so yeah, let's head over to the materials and continue with the tutorial. I'm going to be using this Bigtwist acrylic yarn. This is, as you can see here, it's 170 grams, 347 meters. It's a size 4 yarn. And for the hook, it recommends here an H8 hook. And that's exactly what I'll be using in this tutorial. So you can use any yarn that you have at hand, as long as it's a size 4, or even if it's cotton, you can go ahead and use what you have and use the recommended hook if you can. I'm going to start with a slip knot and make a chain in multiples of 18 plus 5. So I'm going to be chaining 54. This is my chain of 54, and now I'm going to add 5 more chains. So I'm going to hold on to this one and add 5 more chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th I'm going to make a double crochet. This chain 3 is going to count as our first double crochet. So here in total we have 2 double crochets, and now we're going to make a total of 6 more double crochet. We're going to make 6 more double crochet for a total of 8. So here we have 2, that's 3. I'm working in the back bumps of my chain and making a double crochet. After that, you're going to chain 2 and you're going to skip 2. Then in the next, you're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, and then you're going to make 1 double crochet in the next 13 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to continue until I have a total of 13 double crochets here. Okay, after the 13 double crochets, chain 2, skip 2, and make 1 double crochet into the next, chain 2, skip 2, and you're going to make 1 double crochet into the next 13 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, and I'll continue until I have a total of 13. After your second set of 13 double crochets, chain 2, skip 2, make 1 double crochet into the next, chain 2, skip 2, and you're going to make 1 double crochet into the next 8 stitches. Alright, I'm done here with my 8 double crochets to complete the row. And as you can see here, we started with 8 double crochets and ended with 8 double crochets. So you need to keep that in mind. No matter what size you are making, you're going to start with the 8 and finish with the 8. If yours is longer, you're going to have more sets of 13. You're going to repeat that over and over, and then once you get towards the end, you're going to end with 18 double crochets, just like this. So we're now going to start our row 2, chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, chain 3, turn your work. Then you're going to make 1 double crochet until you have 2 double crochets left here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once you have your 6 double crochets completed, you're going to chain 2, then you're going to yarn over, and you're going to skip those next 2 stitches and the chain 2 space, and on top of this 1 double crochet, you're going to make 5 double crochets all in that same stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 2, yarn over, and you're going to skip the next chain 2 space, skip the next 2 stitches as well, and make 1 double crochet until you have 2 double crochets left on this side. Alright, so you should have this. We skipped 2 here, and we have 2 stitches left here, so we're not going to work into those. We're simply going to chain 2, and we're going to make 5 double crochets on top of this 1 double crochet. Make 5 doubles all on top of that stitch. Chain 2, skip 2, make 1 double crochet. So here we have 1 double crochet. You're going to make 8 more double crochets. That's 2, 3, 4. Alright, now we have these 2 stitches left. We're not going to work into those. We're simply going to chain 2, skip the next chain 2 space, and make 5 double crochets on top of that double crochet from previous row. Okay, once you get towards the end here, you're going to chain 2, and you're going to skip 2 and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 6 stitches. That's 3, 4, 5, and our last stitch goes on top of this chain 3 right there. That is how you finish the row, and this is how your second row should look. And what we have here, I'll show you using one of my sleeves here. So as you can see, when we start the first cluster, we start to decrease on these normal double crochets. I know it doesn't make sense right now, but as we go, you're going to get the hang of this pattern. It's very easy. So now we have completed the second row. As you can see, on the third row, we're going to be increasing. So we're going to have these 2 clusters, and I'm going to show you next how to do that. All right, row 3, chain 3, turn your work. Then you're going to make 3 double crochets on top of the next 3 stitches for a total of 4, like that. Now we have 4. We're going to skip these 2, chain 2, yarn over, and you're going to make a cluster on top of this first double crochet. So right there, make 5 double crochets. That's 5 double crochets, and you're going to yarn over, and on top of this last double crochet of the cluster, you're going to make 5 more double crochets. After that, you're going to chain 2, and you're going to skip 2, make 1 double crochet until you have 2 stitches left here. All right, once you have your 2 double crochets left, you're going to chain 2, skip those 2 stitches, and on top of this first double crochet of the cluster, you're going to make 5 double crochet. Yarn over, skip 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th stitch, you're going to make another cluster of 5 double crochets. Like that. Chain 2, skip 2, and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 5 stitches. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 2, skip 2, of course, and the chain 2 space here, make a cluster on top of that first stitch from the previous cluster. Yarn over and make a cluster on top of the very last double crochet from the previous cluster. And this is how we increase on the clusters for this row. That's how it's done. Once you get to the end, you're going to chain 2 and skip 2 and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 4 stitches. And that's how you end the 3rd row. 4th row, we're going to be increasing again on the clusters, and we're going to be decreasing on these normal double crochets. So that is basically how this pattern is worked up. While increasing on the clusters, we are decreasing on these normal double crochets. So for row 4, chain 3 and turn your work. Make 1 double crochet on top of the next stitch. We have 2 stitches left here, and we're going to skip those 2. So chain 2, and you're going to make a cluster on top of this first double crochet. And since we are increasing, this is our last row of increase for these clusters. So here we have our 5 clusters, our 5 double crochets. You're going to yarn over, and on top of this stitch here in the middle, you're going to make a cluster of 5 double crochets. Yarn over, you're going to make another cluster towards the end right here on top of this first stitch. This is what you should have. Chain 2, skip 2, and you're going to yarn over and make 1 double crochet on top of this next stitch. So we're going to have only 1 double crochets here. Chain 2, make a cluster on top of this next stitch. So skip all this. Yarn over, make a cluster in the middle here. Yarn over, and you're going to make another cluster right here towards the end of this set of clusters. And this is how your work should look at this point. Chain 2, skip 2, make a double crochet into the next stitch, chain 2, skip 2 and the chain 2 space, and make a cluster right on top of this first stitch. Then another cluster here in the middle, and another cluster right here towards the end. After that, you're going to chain 2, skip 2, make 1 double crochet on top of the next stitch, yarn over, make your last double crochet on top of that last chain from previous row, and that is how you're going to end the 4th row. Your work should look like this. Okay, so row 5, we're going to be decreasing on these clusters, and we're going to be increasing now on these normal double crochets. I'll show you, just like what we have here. Okay, so we're going to start increasing on these double crochets as we decrease on these clusters, so we can form this diamond shape. Chain 3 and turn your work, yarn over, make 1 double crochet on top of the next stitch, yarn over, and you're going to make a double crochet, 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains. So make 1 double crochet on top of this chain right here. So I hope you're not making your work too tight, like so. So here we have made an increase. After that, you're going to chain 2, and you're going to make a cluster right on top of this middle point, on top of this double crochet. So place your cluster. That's what you should have. Yarn over, make a cluster on top of this next stitch. So basically you're skipping 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th you're going to make a cluster of 5 double crochets, all in that same space. Like so. Chain 2, and you're going to yarn over and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains. That's 1, that's 2, yarn over, make a double crochet on top of the next double crochet, double crochet on top of the next 2 chains, make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains, so there we've made an increase. Chain 2, you're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the 5th you're going to make a cluster. That's 3, 4, 5, yarn over, skip 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th you're going to make another cluster. Chain 2, you're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into this next chain you're going to make 1 double crochet, make another double crochet on top of the next chain, make 1 double crochet on top of the next double crochet, make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains, chain 2, skip 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the 5th you're going to make a cluster of 5 double crochets. skip 1 2 3 4, and into the 5th you're going to make another cluster. Chain 2, and you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains. And then to complete the row, you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 stitches. This is my chain 3. Oops. So we now have a total of 1 2 3 4 5, row 6, chain 3 and turn your work. Then you're going to make a double crochet on top of the next 4 stitches. Make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains for a total of 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Then after that you're going to chain 2, and you're going to make a cluster, 1 cluster right here in the middle. So skip 1 2 3 4, and into the 5th you're going to make a cluster of 5 double crochets. Chain 2, make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains. Then you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 5 double crochets from previous row. Then make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains. So that is how we are making increases. So you can see it from this last double crochet that we made. We've been making increases where we decrease on the clusters. Chain 2, skip 1 2 3 4, and into the 5th you're going to make a cluster of 5 double crochets. Chain 2, make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains. Then you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 5 double crochets. Make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains. Chain 2, make a cluster, so skip 1 2 3 4, and into the 5th you're going to make a cluster of 5 double crochets. One, two, three, four, 5. Chain 2, Then you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains. Make 1 double crochet on top of the next 4 chains. I'm sorry, 4 double crochets from the previous row. And this is how your work should be looking. You can see that the pattern is coming out. So here we have 6 rows. Row 7, chain 3 and turn your work. Then you're going to yarn over and you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 5 double crochets. Then make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains. Like this. Chain 2, yarn over, skip 1, 2, and into the third you're going to make 1 double crochet like that. Chain 2, skip 2, and into the next 2 chains you're going to make 1 double crochet. That's 1, that's 2, and then you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next stitches here until you get to the chain 2 space. After that, you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains. Chain 2, skip 1, 2, and into the third, make 1 double crochet. Chain 2, skip 2, and into the next 2 chains, you're going to make 1 double crochet. Yarn over, make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch until you get to this chain 2 space. After that, make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 chains. Your work at this point should look like this. Chain 2, skip 2, and into the third, make 1 double crochet. Chain 2, skip 2, and into the next 2 chains you're going to make 1 double crochet. All right, to complete the row you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 6 double crochets from the previous row. And that's how the pattern should be looking, guys. Okay, so as you can see here, where we've been making increases, we now have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13, just like what we had here at the first row. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 and 13. So that means we're going to repeat the same thing we did for row 2, row 3, row 4. We're going to keep repeating those rows. Let me see. Yeah, we're going to keep repeating row 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. Yeah, you're going to keep repeating those rows, 6 rows over and over until your project is bigger. So what comes next after this row, it means we are going to make a cluster right on top of these double crochet. These double crochets gets clusters, and then we're going to be decreasing on these normal double crochets just like we did here at row 2. So basically we're repeating row 2. Row 7, you're going to repeat row 2. I hope that is making sense, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Okay guys, so at the end of row 7, this is how your work should be looking. I'm going to show you guys one more time how to run this pattern, and then I'll do the rest off camera. All right, chain 3 and turn your work. We're going to make 6 double crochets. Like so. 1 2 3 4 5 6. And now we're going to skip the next 2 double crochets. So chain 2, skip the next 2 double crochets and the chain 2, and on top of this double crochet you're going to make a cluster of 5 double crochets. That's 2 3 4 5. So we have our first cluster there for this row. Chain 2, skip 2, make 1 double crochet on top of the next stitches until you have 2 stitches left here. So basically you're going to make 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9. So once you have 2 stitches left, you're going to chain 2 and skip them, and on top of this next double crochet you're going to make a cluster of 5 double crochets. Chain 2, skip the next 2 double crochets and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 9 stitches. After that you're going to chain 2 and skip the next 2, and on top of this next double crochet you're going to make a cluster of 5 double crochets. That's 5, chain 2, skip 1 2, and just like we did here at the beginning, you're going to make 6 double crochets to complete the row. So skip 1 2, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that's it, guys. That's the pattern. You're going to repeat that until you have enough length that you need. Okay, guys, I'm going to keep repeating this pattern until I have a total of 36 rows for my sleeve.